Many people consider Yakuza 0 to be the best in the Yakuza series. And you know what? They're right. It is absolutely an amazing game. It is incredible. Now, I started Yakuza in a weird place because I started with the Yakuza collection, which means I played Yakuza 3, 4, and 5 before I got to Yakuza 0. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I really hated Yakuza 3 and it made me reconsider playing the rest of the series, but I persevered, and what a great decision that was because both Yakuza 4 and Yakuza 5 were really good games. However, I would only say that I liked the series and didn't love it. Not that I thought the series was bad or anything or overrated, I just thought it was a good series that I didn't really care too much about. But Yakuza 0 completely changed that for me because this game is an absolute masterpiece. For starters, it was really cool to see a young Kiryu. He's a lot less honourable in this one. There's a lot of things that he did that surprised me that I didn't expect from his character. In this one, he feels like he would, leave someone getting beaten up on the side of a road, like he'd leave it and just carry on with his Yakuza duties. Whereas in later games, I feel like he would put his Yakuza duties to the side and then help out one of the guy getting beaten up on the side of the road. Another thing about Kiryu was I absolutely loved his relationship with Nishikiyama, I think his name was. Now, Nishikiyama was a new character for me. I know Nishikiyama's in the first game and is in the remake of the first game, which I haven't played yet. So I didn't know anything about their relationship, and I absolutely loved seeing their characters develop and how they did genuinely feel like brothers and they cared for each other. And Nishikiyama, it felt like he would do anything for Kiryu, and I've heard that in Yakuza 1 there's some differences between their relationship that I'm looking forward to when I eventually play the remake. I absolutely loved Kiryu's story. I love how he teams up with Tachibana and all of that. I'm not going to go into too many details because I don't want to spoil it, but I loved seeing Kiryu. He's on the run. He's essentially been excommunicated, like from John Wick. He's got all these Yakuza chasing after him and he's trying to prove his innocence for something he didn't do. That's the central premise of Kiryu's story, and it's a very good story. The side missions, like in Yakuza games, are very silly and are very good. My personal favourite is the one where you have like a race car driver one, but it's like a toy race car. I spent way too much time on that one and just beating the crap out of kids at their own game. Also, I was really addicted to the real estate royale. Fighting the 5 billionaires. That was so much fun. I really enjoyed recruiting characters from other side missions to help. In fact, to my surprise, because I didn't just do all the side missions, I also played some of the games like snooker and darts and of course bowling. Now in bowling, what you can do is if you get 3 strikes in a row, you get a turkey, right? And your reward for doing this is you get a literal turkey that will help you out with fighting the 5 billionaires, which is just hilarious and so surprising. It took me right off guard. And the thing is, the turkey is somehow actually useful in this side mission. The game made me like Kiryu a lot more, as I wasn't really the biggest Kiryu fan. Not that I hated his character or that I thought he was a disappointment or anything. It's just that, like I said, I played Yakuza 3, which is Kiryu's game. Didn't like Yakuza 3. Then I played Yakuza 4 and Yakuza 5, where there's a lot more protagonists, and I like those games a lot more. And for me personally, Kiryu got overshadowed in Yakuza 4 and Yakuza 5 by some of the protagonists, most notably Akiyama, who's my boy. I love Akiyama so much. I was so worried that he wasn't going to be in Yakuza 6, because Yakuza 6 seems like it was going to be Kiryu's game, but I love that character so much, and I just couldn't fall for Kiryu the same way that I fell for him, because he's such a great character. And that probably explains why, for me personally, I don't view this as Kiryu's game. I view this as Majima's game. I did not realise how much I liked Majima in a similar way to Kiryu until I actually got to play as Majima. I was so ecstatic and excited to play as Majima because I literally did not know that I would get to play as him in this game, and it was actually very jarring playing as him in this game because you've probably heard this a lot of people, the whole opinion changes of Majima depending on which order of the games you play as. If you like me, if you played some of the games before you played Yakuza 0, it was very jarring to see him act like a normal human being, and if you played Yakuza 0 and then moved on to the next few games, it's actually very jarring to see him go from this normal human being into this crazy psychopath. But I absolutely just loved his story with Makoto. It was so much more personal. I loved their relationship, and their story was somehow so much better than Kiryu's. Kiryu's story was good in this, but Majima's was on another level. Majima was humanized in so many ways that I just didn't expect. He's now my favorite Yakuza character, which is really surprising because I found him to be really overhyped when I initially played the Yakuza games. But his side missions were so great. I loved his combat abilities more than Kiryu's. It's not just his story that's better, his combat is so much better. Especially the Mad Dog fighting style. I love that one. I only got to use it at the end, but it was such a great fighting style. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, Sega, give Majima his own game, you cowards. I was even more addicted to the Host Club side mission than the fighting the 5 billionaires. I spent most of my 100 plus hours of the game on that segment. And no, it's not because of the cute girls, okay? But it's also not because of the cute girls, okay? It was a good side mission, alright? Don't look into it too much, okay? Another thing I really liked is how dark the story is. Yakuza stories do usually have some darkness in them, but they're usually a lot more silly than this game was. This story was very, very dark. A lot of important characters die throughout the story, not just right at the end. They die throughout, and it gives this feeling that anyone but Majima and Kiryu can die, especially because this is a prequel. So a lot of the characters in this game aren't in later games. There are a few that I won't spoil, although I did spoil one earlier, but I wasn't aware of the character's existence until this game. There's lots of good twists and reveals. This is by far the best story than any of the previous Yakuza games that I've played, so definitely better than 3 and better than 4 and 5. And what really surprised me about the game was its ending. This game has an absolutely fantastic ending. Endings are usually really important for me. They're a huge stickler for me, and I'll probably make a video talking about how important endings are. But this ending was so good, and it just left me so sad. Again, I'm not going to spoil, but just seeing Majima walking down the street, oh man, I felt things that I didn't think I was going to feel for a Yakuza game, and for a character of Majima, who before Yakuza 0, like I said, I didn't really like. But the ending was fantastic. In fact, this might be one of my favourite games of all time. It has completely changed how I looked at the franchise. I'm currently playing Yakuza 6 and I'm loving it. I'm going to play Yakuza 1 and Yakuza 2 Remake. I'm really looking forward to playing Like a Dragon, which is apparently the only Yakuza game to go toe-to-toe with 0, so I have very high hopes for it. I'm also interested in playing the Judgment games too, because there are similarities. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, play Yakuza 0, it is incredible. Make sure to like and subscribe if you want to hear my opinion on more games, and maybe on more Yakuza games. Anyway, I'll see you around. Bye-bye.